But I don't know if the jars have been out yet. We'll take up. They have?
Yes.
Wonderful. So they've done what they have to do. Well, thank you very much. Have you all signed the petition?
No. No.
Well, we invite you to do that. They're right there, and they're right there waiting for you. After the talks today, we'll have the handouts from my speech and Tony Costa, who's coming up right now. Professor Costa, come on up.
Well, I want to take this opportunity to thank Rahil Raza and Mr. Rancorn and Ron Banerjee. Let's give them a hand. They did a great job. And I think they're saving the best for last, which is Meyer Weinstein, so from the Jewish Defense League. Do you love Canada? I love Canada. God bless Canada. You know, the preamble to the Canada Act says that this country was founded and is founded upon the supremacy of God. That's how it begins. Now, what I'm going to say here is nothing new. We're all familiar with the law. There's nothing new to be said. But what I want to talk about here today is why in the world is the Toronto District School Board engaging in actions that they know to be illegal? They are contrary to the law, and we have seen, Razel has mentioned, the double standards that we have seen. The purpose of our protest here is not to attack, we're not here to attack Muslims, we're not here to attack the freedom of religion. That is guaranteed to you by the Canadian Charter of Rights, Section 15. You can check it out. Everyone has the right to the freedom of conscience, expression, religion, and you cannot be discriminated on that basis. Now, again, our protest here today is because the Toronto District School Board, the headquarters that you see behind me here, paid by your tax dollars, Torontonians, is in flagrant disregard to the Education Act of Ontario, a provincial act. Now, some members of the Toronto District School Board have actually gone into the media and have actually said that the Charter of Rights and Freedoms trumps the Education Act. And they will tell us that the Ontario Human Rights Code also trumps the Education Act. I am here to report to you tonight that that is utter nonsense. Absolute nonsense. Yes. The Charter merely states that no one should be discriminated on the basis of religion, among other things. And the Ontario Human Rights Code provides reasonable accommodation in the area of religion, and it too does not violate the Education Act. Now, do we allow religious accommodation? Are Sikhs allowed to wear their kirpans in society, in Canadian society? Are they not? Yeah. Are Muslim women allowed to wear the hijab? Absolutely. Do we tell them we can't wear them in our schools? No, we don't. Can a Christian wear a cross if he wishes to in a school, public school? Yes, he can. Well, there's nothing wrong with doing that. And so what we find here is that the Toronto District School Board is violating the Education Act in providing religious exercises to take place during school hours. Now, having religious activities take place in the public school, again, we reiterate, is against the law. So let's kind of recap why we're here and what's going on. The Muslim students at Valley Park High School or Middle School, they can attend, and does anyone know here that they can actually attend a mosque in their vicinity? There is a mosque in the vicinity of the school. Did you know that? It's about 5 minutes away by bus. They can go to the mosque and pray. Do you know why? The main reason why the prayers are now being conducted in the mosqueteria? Why are they now being conducted in the cafeteria? This is the main problem. Let me tell you what the main problem is. The main problem was that Muslim students were going to the mosque to pray, which is a huge accommodation, is it not? Letting them off school to go to their mosque, and that's a huge accommodation. It's a huge inconvenience to the non-Muslims who are in the school waiting for them to return to resume class. So it's a very great inconvenience to the non-Muslims, but they're allowed to go to the mosque, and here's the main problem. The main problem here was that the students were not coming back to school. Now, whose fault is that? Now, the problem here is not so much the cafeteria. The problem here is we have a problem with student discipline. That's the main problem, and that's something that is lacking in this province and in this country, proper student discipline. And so the school actually did the right thing. They said, well, this is a public school, you can go to your place of worship, you can conduct your prayers there, this is not the place to do it. They actually had the right idea. But what happened was, to avoid the students from just playing hooky and running off and not returning to school, they decided to take a taxpayer, publicly funded cafeteria in a school and convert it into a mosque. This is not accommodation, ladies and gentlemen. This is showing favoritism to one religion at the expense of breaking the law. Now, let me take you down memory lane. Let's go back to memory lane. We're going to go back about 20, 30 years ago. And we're going to go back to September 23rd, 1988. And Ms. Raza appealed to this earlier in her talk. Let's go back to September 23rd, 1988. The Ontario Court of Appeal, the highest court in this province, struck down former regulations which had allowed public schools to open or close the school day with religious exercises such as the Lord's Prayer and Bible reading. How many of you remember the Lord's Prayer? How many of you remember we actually had Bible readings in school? Do you remember that? Where are those? Where are they now? Long gone. They're right down, they're long gone. They're no longer here. They're a thing of the past. I mean, it's inconceivable to even talk about this today. You know, as a minister, I go to various high schools to talk to the Christian fellowships, and guess when they meet? Do you think they meet during school hours?
No.
Never. Absolutely. That's unacceptable. They meet after school or during lunch. Why? Because they cannot meet during school hours, because it is against the law. So what's going on here in this particular case? Well, what did the court rule? The court ruled that to have the Lord's Prayer in the schools was to give primacy to a particular religion, in this case, Christianity. In another legal challenge brought by a group of parents in Elgin County on January 30th, 1990, the Ontario Court of Appeal struck down another regulation which concerned the teaching of religion in the public elementary schools. And listen to what the judgment of the court said. Listen to what the Ontario Court of Appeal said. It said this: the school may sponsor the study of religion, but may not sponsor the practice of religion. What are we seeing here? They're practicing.
Double standard.
Second, the school's approach to religion is one of instruction, not one of indoctrination. What's going on? There's indoctrination going on. And thirdly, the school's approach is academic, not devotional. So, what is happening is a complete reversal of what the Ontario Court of Appeal ruled back in the 1980s. Now, the Ontario Ministry of Education makes it clear in their policies that schools, now listen up, that schools, quote, must not give primacy to any particular religious faith. You know what that means? You cannot pick favorites. You cannot say, we'll choose this religion and we'll exclude all other religions. That is discrimination.
Yes. It's true.
But folks, it's common sense, it's common logic. I mean, we all get this. We're all getting this, right? So then why then is the district school board allowing one particular religion to exercise its faith over all other religions? Now the TDSB says, well, no, we must accommodate this because the charter promises religious freedom. Well, I have a question for the Toronto District School Board. Why did you remove the Lord's Prayer?
Yes,
Why? What is so offensive about the Lord's Prayer? What is so offensive about Bible readings? Well, you see, that shows favoritism to Christianity, and it makes non-Muslims feel, or Hindus and Jews and everyone else feel uncomfortable. Well, we're told now that Valley Middle High School has 80% Muslims. Well, back in the 70s, 80-90% of the students were Christians. Why did you get rid of the Lord's Prayer? There's something wrong here, folks. I'm not getting it. There's an imbalance here. Well, listen to what the Education Act of Ontario says. All of this is public knowledge, folks. I'm not inventing this. You could read this online. You have access to this. The Education Act of Ontario, 1990, states this under religion in schools. Listen very carefully to what it says. Section 29. It says, subject to subsections 2 and 3, A board shall not permit any person to conduct religious exercises or provide instruction that includes indoctrination in a particular religion or religious belief in a school. What's going on here? They are permitting a person, in this case an imam, to conduct religious exercises and to provide instruction that includes indoctrination in a particular religion, in this case Islam, in direct contravention to the act. Well, why is no one getting upset over this? Well, it's because, folks, political correctness is killing this country. It is destroying the fabric of our country. Our fathers, our glorious dead, died for this country. We honor them every 11th of November at the 11th hour. We salute and we remember our glorious dead who gave their lives for the freedom that you and I have to assemble here. There are places in the world where if you did something like this, you would be shot down. But thank God we live in a free country, a democratic country, bought by the blood of our young men and women, our soldiers who have died to give us these types of freedoms. So far, that's true. Now notice what the board also says, the Education Act of Ontario, which rules the public schools. It says, a board may permit a person to conduct religious exercises or to provide instruction that includes indoctrination in a particular religion or religious belief only on the following conditions. Number one, the exercises are not conducted or the instruction is not provided by or under the auspices of the board. But are not these prayers being conducted under the auspices of the Toronto District School Board? Yes! Number two, listen very carefully. This is why Christians, you can't meet during school hours. Here it is. The exercises are conducted or the instruction is provided on a school day at a time that is before or after the school's instructional program or on a day that is not a school day. There it is. Now, where's the beef? I mean, what is going on here? So it's very clear, folks, that the Toronto District School Board has violated these conditions. These religious exercises, such as Muslim prayers, are provided under the auspices of the board. They are conducted during school hours on a school day. That's illegal. Would the Toronto District School Board provide the same space for other community activities during school hours? What do you think? No! Would they allow Christians, Jews, Sikhs, Hindus, Buddhists, Catholics to have mass in the cafeteria to conduct their religious practices? If the Toronto District School Board is willing to accommodate Muslim prayers, are they willing to bring back, for the sake of argument, are they willing to bring back the Lord's Prayer and other religious practices such as Christmas celebrations? I can't even say Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas, everybody! Christmas in August. Isn't that lovely? It's Christmas in August. But, oh, happy Hanukkah. God bless the Jews as well. But here's the funny thing. Here's the funny thing. In the public school systems, I'm told that, well, we really can't say that. We prefer season's greetings and happy holidays. We don't call them, we don't want Christmas pageants because, you see, that's religious. We'll have winter festivals. We'll have Frosty the Snowman and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Not that I have anything against Frosty or Rudolph. But what is Christmas all about from Christianity's perspective? It's about Jesus Christ. Right? Okay, so it's obvious that the TDSB has a problem with Christianity and Judaism. It's obvious. It's obvious they have a problem with Hinduism because Hindus do not eat meat. A lot of them are vegetarian, but they serve meat and they serve halal meat at that. So, if they're going to accommodate these things, then they have to be fair to all people. We do not agree or support the idea that the Toronto Public School Board, paid by your tax dollars of Toronto, are places, as Ms. Raza has already mentioned, of any religious activities at all. To accommodate one religion over others is discrimination and it's preferential treatment, and that is very un-Canadian. And so we need you to tell the Toronto District School Board, give them your complaints, tell them how you feel about it. You can email them. We've got some handouts here. I've got all these points listed on the handout. You could read it for yourself. You could see it online where the government of Ontario has provided all these legislations, etc. And there's a phone number you can call. There's an email that you can contact. And so, united folks, we stand. Divided, we fall. And if the Islamists have their way, we all lose. Because there's no equality there. And so, let us keep Canada free. Let's keep it beautiful. Let's keep it glorious. And may God bless Canada and keep it free.